tonight. Good to see you.
List of properties they own, and we would like some consideration toward making some changes on this. Otherwise, the property won't be sold. It's been on the market now for a couple of years, and I have some sheets here identifying the parcels that they own that I'll leave here. And that's all I have to say. I appreciate you letting me speak to you about it.
What are the sizes of the properties?
Sir?
What are the sizes of the properties? Are they like a quarter of an acre or less, or eighth of an acre?
Well, they're different sizes of property here. I've got a sheet here showing the tax maps on different ones. And I get numerous calls. They want to buy the property, but they want to put a mobile home. And the law doesn't allow it.
Properties over town, or one specific area more so, or?
In what area is it?
Are they all over town, or they're?
No, it's all in one area. I've got the street addresses on this sheet here.
About what area is it in? What area are they in?
One of them's at the corner of 1st and H Avenue, G Avenue and 1st Street, Fleming Street, Chalmers Street, Chestnut Street, Leidy Street, Chestnut and Jessamine, Curvin, and Farm.
Why can't they build a house on it? Can they build houses on it?
I don't know what, I don't know what size the lots are, but.
Some of the lots, there are more shotgun, so they're longer and they're skinny. And, some of them don't allow for houses to be built, but they also would be too skinny to put a mobile home on. Right. But you'd have to research whether or not, a house could be built on those lots, an actual house, but mobile homes, aren't permitted in any of our districts.
I was just trying to find out what was going to go out. Or can it go out?
Why don't we at least look at, the handout that you've got, and we can report back to you, and maybe have,
Can you
Sheila
get one
meet
each one
with,
of the council meetings?
Mr. Jordan about it, and maybe have him give us some other, opportunities.
Sure.
So would you take that?
Absolutely.
Meet with him?
Yeah. I don't think it's a good idea to put mobile homes.
No, not mobile
in our
homes,
city.
to see if they're big enough to actually put houses, like
Okay.
regular houses.
Houses, I agree.
Or
Mobile
modular.
homes are different. Right, individual mobile homes.
That's it. I was challenging, just stuff like it.
Is that it?
Lady ain't coming
Mr.
back.
Jordan, we'll be back in touch with you. Sheila Jones will be giving you a phone call. She'll call you this week.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right, part C under new business, proposed advertisements on city-owned vehicles. I guess I'll talk on this one. Looking for different ways that we can generate funds without raising city water or taxes or anything else. Is that while I was in Sumter one day, they have the little street sweeper that the guy walks around with, and has a digital advertisement on their street sweeper, which was a small mobile sweeper that they have around there. They have a spot on it for digital advertisement. Is that I have offered my service of putting the material on the trucks, and I'll actually be willing to go out and try to get the advertisements with, if anybody else is willing to help me get the advertisements on the trucks. According to Alex, I think we have six trucks, is that correct? Or five trucks.
We've got 5 big trucks.
Five big trucks that you could put an advertisement on both sides. And again, nothing would be put up on the advertisement without the city's approval of, my thought process behind it, y'all is that it would say, for example, State Farm proudly supports the city, State Farm proudly supports the city of Darlington, Allstate proudly supports the city of Darlington, something of that nature. So it says that they're supporting Darlington, and they got their advertisement on the side of the sweeper truck for, a year. And they would pay it for a year or 6 months or whatever period of time to put that material on there. And then the city council will be able to agree, determine what you want to do with those funds. Just a different way to bring money into the city. Any thoughts or ideas on that? Yes, ma'am.
I would suggest that we write a set of rules for what is and is not acceptable for an advertisement. Just some sort of guidelines that
Sure.
we could go by.
And do we have, a set number that can go on each vehicle, or is it one on per side, or?
Like
do we limit the size?
the picker truck, for example, I would say one on each side. I mean, we can look at it, we're not, again, the goal would be not to make the truck look gawky, but, make it look professional, even more professional than it does, but with advertising on the side of it, we're bringing funds into the city.
The back of the truck has interchangeable boards that could be put out as advertising also.
So we limit
So,
the size and, the number.
So, we would, okay. It would be certain, when you say 5 trucks, which, see, okay.
You have
Like you said, you
have
gave
2
me
picker trucks and 2 trash trucks and, the back truck, right?
that kind of stuff, not our,
So like the picker truck, for example, the side of it is just a big piece of metal. We'd have to put a corrugated piece of, board that attaches to it, so it'd be a smooth side, and it would say State Farm, Allstate Insurance, or whatever, something on the side of that truck. To look nice.
okay.
And then that truck would pay for it for 6 months.
Well, I'm just looking at the type, I mean, not all our city vehicles
No.
would be available,
No.
just certain ones.
Right.
Okay. Then we would designate which ones those are.
But you got a picker truck that's run through town
Yeah, okay.
that somebody might love to have a name on the side of it, pay for advertising, run through town. Just like you see the PDRTA buses and so forth, that's Pepsi and Mountain Dew up through Florence. St. George Healthcare, different places like that, that pay for that advertising.
So do we have a breakdown of what the cost would be for State Farm or whoever to put something on the side of this truck? And then how much would you charge the city to do this?
It would be no charge to the city. I would offer my services and material for free.
So how much would it cost for State Farm to put this on the side of the truck?
Whatever the city council
Y'all have
decides.
come up with
to-
anything yet?
Yeah, the city council, I'm just using a number, let's say you want to charge State Farm $100 a month and they pay $1,200 for the year, then when you get to that effort, it would need to stay on for about a year. So you may say $1,200 a year, $2,400 a year, $100 a month, $200 a month, it would be a charge to the city. It would be a service I would provide.
Sounds like free money, I got no problem with that. If there ever gets to be a cost, I guess, for charging to get it made, I think just make sure we bid it out, make sure it's fair and transparent, so we don't have any issues from that perspective, but thank you, it sounds like a great idea. From my perspective.
I would like to also pursue, or somebody to pursue, like, at least either while we're doing that, to be able to put a sheet of paper in the water bill at the same time, where we can start generating funds with that. If it costs us $300 to add, I'm just using the number, if it costs us $300 to add a sheet of paper into the water bill, then can we sell ads for that?
We're waiting on that estimate from the company.
Yeah, if you could disseminate that to council, that'd be great.
Okay.
Somebody will need to make a motion to come do that.
So we have a motion for, I would say,
Nobody's made a motion
to
yet.
move, do I have a motion to move forward with, getting, like Lisa said, guidelines brought up, let's say,
Yeah, I'd like to,
for the council to approve?
yeah, make a motion to approve the advertisements on city-owned vehicles, to include a list of do's and don'ts for companies that can advertise, and how much we'd be charging businesses, kind of like a price scale, and get that information back to us.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, good. Thank you. All right, new business, boards, commission appointments.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's July, we are starting our new fiscal year, and that also means there are a lot of board and commission appointments because terms expire on June 30th. So, in your packet,
Terms expired on June 1st, some did, or all did, or?
a lot did. And this is, my recommendation is just to reappoint these folks who said that they were willing to continue to serve. And apparently we do have to do this individually. So, the first, is Mr. George Chase, who actually happens to be with us tonight, on the Historic Landmarks Commission. He's, lived in the historic district on West Broad Street for many years, came into town and redid a house, and he's a big proponent of historic properties and renovations. And of course, his background in construction is very valuable to the commission. So we would ask that Mr. George Chase be reappointed to the Historic Landmark Commission.
I'd like the motion that we approve George Chase to the Landmark Commission.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay? Okay. Thank you.
All right, the next person on the Historic Landmark Commission who would like to be reappointed is Miss Rose Pruitt. She did a lot of work for the commission. If you've looked at the new website at cityofdarlington.com, there's a whole section of historic documents that she scanned in and put on a thumb drive so that we could digitize it and put it online. So she's definitely an asset to the commission, and we would like to see her continue to serve if possible.
I'll make a motion to approve, reappointing, Ms. Rose Pruitt for the Historic Landmark Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
And the third person, that has asked to be reappointed is Miss Catherine Al, for Historic Landmark Commission. She hasn't served on the commission very long, but she does have a passion for historic properties.
I'll motion that we approve Catherine Al for the Historic Landmarks Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
And the last name that I have, persons that would like to be reappointed, is Mr. William Jackson to the Board of Zoning Appeals. He previously served on the Historic Landmark Commission for several terms. The Board of Zoning Appeals is very important, although they don't meet very often. They only meet if we have a problem, really. But he's had some experience with it, and so it's important that we keep some knowledge on that board, and it's also important that we keep a number of people on that board so that we can actually have a meeting.
Who's currently on the board?
He is on the board, yes.
I said, who's currently on that board?
Mr. Calvin King, Mr. Parker Al, Mr. William Jackson. There's an open seat, and then Ms. Kay Pearson did not respond to say whether or not she said she was willing, but she, she thought somebody else might want to be involved.
I'll make a motion that we reappoint Mr. William Jackson to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. That leaves quite a few seats still available. If you know somebody who's interested in helping the city and just wants some details about the different boards and what they do, they can give me a call or send me an email.
Thank you. Okay, any information, any questions for the department head reports? All right, any comments from council? What do you think?
I received an email, and I'm sure everybody else got it, cause it showed it was sent to everybody. That, Ms. Latham sent us, and I'm sure she sent it to Lisa, that was supposed to be read in council meeting tonight. So I'm curious to know, did you receive it, Lisa, and for citizens' comments, or citizens' questions, or something?
Let me see.
Is that the email you sent like 5 something?
Yeah, I got it like 5:15 or something like that.
It was after 5 o'clock, and I was already home eating dinner.
Okay.
We typically ask people to submit their comments in advance, preferably by noon the day before, if possible. And of course, the comments, if you look at the email, is exactly the same comments that I read of hers, or at least that's what it's showing on my email.
I thought so too.
It's the exact same email that was sent previously and was read during the meeting on June 25th at the public hearing.
Okay, but.
I don't know that there's
What I
anything
understand-
else attached.
From what I understand from the email I got, she requested a response in writing. At the last council meeting, the email requested a response in writing, and she never got a response back in writing pertaining to her email. So it was sent again to the council for the purpose of being read again and asking again for a response in writing. And she can request a response in writing. If you
Yes,
read
ma'am.
our rules and our ordinance, she has that right. So she
does.
should have been responding back in writing because she requested a response in writing.
Are we required to respond?
We are not.
She-
Citizens' comments?
She asked for a response. She asked for a response.
I know, but I'm just for argument's sake, I didn't know if we were legally required to or not.
During citizen comments, anytime somebody comes here like Mr. Boston, you're welcome, permitting the chair, you're welcome to have conversation with them, but it is not a requirement that
If she
you
sends
respond to
something in
them.
writing to you, you saying she don't have a right to get a response back in writing?
I'm not saying she doesn't, I'm
Oh.
just saying there's nowhere written that says you have to. It's
I think I read it
pretty
somewhere.
impolite to not respond to somebody in writing when they asked you to, but
I don't ever-
that doesn't mean that,
Okay.
I mean, I'm certain there's plenty of times I've written people and I've
So
not
she-
gotten anything written back.
But let's not make that an issue. She was very specific about getting a response in the letter, that long letter. She was very specific about us
Exactly. She did.
responding, and she may have said a writing of that, but I know she wants a response. Have we responded?
Did y'all respond? I did not.
Okay.
I know John Dillon
Let's
responded.
get-
I did not receive, it was directed to council, so I wouldn't have written anything
I don't think
unless
John Miller's
directed.
responded.
He responded, cause she even asked if he would respond again a little bit later, I think in the same email.
To her or to Gladys?
I didn't respond to the specific questions. I responded to Ms. Latham's request saying that I thought
She received it.
some of the stuff that she requested was information that would be, in essence, helpful to all of us. And I certainly have no problem about the city trying to put together a written response, because I think it may provide some guidance, and information for city council members as well as for Ms. Latham. Some of it we may not have, I just don't know. But I didn't think that the questions she asked were particularly outlandish. So I don't see any reason, not to provide her with requests. I don't know whether, with what other things have been going on with getting the budget put together during June and the public meeting and that kind of stuff, Mr. Garland or any of the staff have had the opportunity to respond to her, but I'm assuming Mr. Garland can somewhat remember the requests that were made. If he thinks he can get it to her in 45 days or 60 days, I'd say let's just look to Mr. Garland to provide that information within the next 45 or 60 days.
Well, there are parts of that letter that were got to staff. There were specific questions for council members, so
Some were, but most of hers, I think, related to, certain things like projects and what have you, but obviously we need to take another look at her request to determine what needs to come from council as a unified response and what needs to come, from the city. So let's just take a look and see what she was requesting. I can find it on my cell phone, but I can't quote it.
I just think the council should have the decency to reply,
Did you
to
reply?
respond to her comment.
Councilwoman, did you reply?
I did, I spoke to her personally.
Okay.
I did,
Well, then
but I can't speak for everybody else, I can only speak for me.
Okay.
I can't speak for everybody else.
Replied.
Your council didn't, only I spoke to her, I can't speak for everybody else.
But you didn't put it in writing, right?
Huh?
You didn't put it in
No,
writing.
no, I didn't, and that's not what she asked for.
I thought you did
I
ask.
thought that's what she asked for.
Yeah, in
Right.
writing, yeah, I'm saying I spoke to her one-on-one, but that's not what she was asking, she asked for it in writing.
We all failed her, and I apologize on my part.
So could we construct some information,
what are
get
we
back to
going
you,
to do?
Howard, maybe? Should we look at it from a council member perspective and get some information back to you?
Sure.
And then kind of start crafting something that way, would that help? Anybody opposed to that?
No, I just, please explain that when she asked about the funding and why we had to increase funding for stormwater, that we had a bond that we wrote out that we can't afford, because of our revenues being half of that. That would be something I would love to be put in there.
Okay. All right, any other comments? I'd like to, say thank you to the fire department for doing a fantastic job with, Mr. Pinky Owl's, business that was caught on fire the other day, and, I think some of our guys were the ones actually to see it on fire, and, responded and put yourself at risk every day to do that, and, we want to tell you personally, thank you, I know, and, always doing a great job, so, thank you for your service, and a lot of times people don't realize the risk that you take, even climbing up on that, however tall that ladder is, and not knowing what's below you. When it explodes, it can throw you off the top of that ladder. You don't know what's inside the fire. And we're taking your time and effort and to risk your lives to get fires out and protect us. So we just want to thank you for your service.
Yeah, I didn't usually sit on the comments, but I did want to put this before council to maybe begin to look at like some of the other cities as ordinance that would that refer to the use of our mask. And since our city offices is still not open to the public, you know, we might need to deal with that, because I truly appreciate that you changed me a little bit, because I was a little apprehensive about meeting again. That I was thinking that we probably could kind of look again at doing the virtual meeting, as well as and maybe limiting if we are in here, and limiting the public in, because in this ordinary business they're not allowed, you know, as yet we haven't done it. So I wanted to at least throw that and get council to thinking, because we are on the increase. I know we're nowhere near like other places. It is nowhere near like that, but we are. And seeing what measures we might be able to take, and asking that masks are being worn outside of here for some of the businesses, just for us to consider. And just so we can begin to have some kind of conversations.
Why don't we have the rest of our meetings until we get through this at Baldwin Gym? That seemed to work well.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right with council?
That's fine with me.
Spread out some more.
Okay. So you make a
But
motion
then
on
that
that?
still will be limited to how many people?
50 last time.
50.
50 total.
I'll be happy if we have 50 citizens wanting to participate.
But it's more than we can put here at the time.
50 including us, or 50
It
total?
would be 50 including us.
No, 50 in addition to
In
you.
addition to, okay,
Yeah.
well,
But even the last one, there weren't, the seats weren't all filled, even
I think we had maybe 10 or 12, and let's see.
Right.
Why don't we confirm those
In
numbers?
addition to us.
It's 70 total, and I assumed, including council and staff, would be 20.
So you
So that
said-
leaves room for 50 people.
So you saying the gym can hold
50 people.
based on the order? I mean,
Based on the
total
fire
mileage?
marshal's determination, you can have 70 people in there, and I assume that at least 20 of those will be staff, so that leaves us 50 seats for citizens.
You make a motion to have it there, or just?
Just make sure.
Okay, the next city council meeting will be Tuesday, August 11th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Monthly meeting, of city council, and we may have it at the gymnasium, so we'll determine.
Baldwin Gym.
Baldwin Gym. And we'll determine for sure the destination of that. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'd just like to add one.
Yes, sir.
I guess next week we'll make a determination if we're gonna have it at Baldwin Gym, and just make sure our social media input is very heavy to allow people to understand that we're switching locations.
And we'll do that.
And if you don't, sorry, I'll motion to adjourn.
Second. Thank you.